spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scary-ish Podcast.
Woo!
I'm Ron Grace, this is Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And today, we're going to read you folks some homegrown horrors. Homegrown horrors?
You're so quiet right now. I've never heard you this quiet on a live show.
I'm out of breath because I was going up and down the stairs. But yeah, so, Adam, why don't you tell us what those are?
Homegrown horrors are the wonderful stories that you, listeners and viewers, have sent in, and it's either something that happened to you that's paranormal, supernatural, spooky, spiritual, sometimes coincidental, sometimes true crime, and sometimes various other things that you decide that you want to share with us that get sent to us so that we can read on the air. Robin, if someone had a story like that, where could they send it?
You can go to our website, scaryish.com. There's a contact us page. You fill out that stuff, and it emails it to us that way. You can also email us directly at storytime@scaryish.com. We also have a bunch of social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. So
Indeed. So whatever works best for you, please reach out to us. We would love to hear your story. If it's a story you do not want shared, that is totally okay. Just let us know. If you're just looking to say, hey, this happened, it's kind of weird, I don't have anyone to tell, no one will believe me, that's what we're here for. But if you do want it shared, even anonymously, we have one of those tonight, where it's like, hey, don't name me, I just want to have this shared on the show. We can do that as well. However you would prefer, we are here to listen. So, and we would like to share these with the wonderful spooky friend family. I know it's weird to say friend family, but realistically, that's what you all are at this point. Because they're just really interesting, and they're really fun, and sometimes they're really heartfelt. So we're not sure what we're getting into tonight, but I'm very, very excited to see what we have in store. So I'm going to go ahead and move into my first story of the show, and this one's subject is Ghosts in the Machine, and I am so fucking excited to read this one, because I just did not a second installment, but like a Humans in the Machine follow-up, and it's always fun to get stories like these. Starts out like this. Hello, Robin and Adam.
hello.
Hello. I just listened to your Ghost in the Machine episode and found the parts about Amazon Alexa especially interesting. Should you use anything that I say in this email on the podcast, please keep it anonymous. Absolutely. Mr. or Mrs. or other anonymous. As I used to work at an Amazon retail location and may work for the company again in a different capacity. During my first month at their book/device store, a tech lady from corporate came to visit and train us on the devices. I may still have her business card somewhere. Let me know if you're interested in that information. I don't think it's necessary. She told us that the Alexa devices are not actively listening unless their wake word is used. The wake word is by default set to Alexa, but it can be changed to other presets like computer in the Alexa app. Now, this woman was an expert, and I don't think she was lying to us. However, that's not to say that she hadn't been lied to herself. I say that because the devices need to be constantly listening in order to recognize their wake word has been said. I will admit that the discussion from the tech lady took place about a year ago, so until then, the devices may have been constantly listening, I am not sure. Another reason I'm skeptical about what the tech expert said is because customers would often complain to me about the devices saying odd things without being prompted.
Our Alexa does that.
Yeah, she does, and it's really creepy.
Well, like Siri, when we were recording last night, started recording everything that we were saying.
As soon as I started talking about the FBI, Siri just started listing everything we were saying. The email continues. The best story I have is when one woman came into the store looking to return 5+ Alexa devices that were a year or two old.
Oh, no.
She explained that she had a large and airy multi-story house and had the devices set up in a bunch of rooms. Apparently, they proceeded to talk and sing to each other randomly, and she couldn't stand it anymore. She literally yanked them out of the walls, tossed them in a paper bag, and drove them to the store.
Okay, is there,
a feature for that
well,
or
no.
something?
Is it possible to just have a loop to have the Alexas talk to each other? The Echo Dots just constantly talking to each other?
I would imagine it has to start somewhere, you know?
Well, yeah, but I wonder if you can do that. Just loop them.
I don't know. This woman didn't even care that I couldn't refund her, as the devices were so old they were no longer in our inventory. She simply dropped the bag at my feet and left. I can't explain why or how the devices would do such a thing, but if I had to guess, I would say the programming is at fault. The Alexas are relatively new technology, and they're supposed to update themselves automatically over time. It's terrifying.
All right.
They learn.
Well, they're connected to the Wi-Fi, so...
Yeah, and they can just update their stuff. Got it. Occasionally, as they get older, they glitch, and that doesn't always happen. I think that's the explanation here. They're known to act strangely and just go off if they can't update. It's weird. It's like they're dying.
Oh my god. Aw,
Cortana. Wow. I also think it's possible that people have had such odd experiences with the devices because, as I said in the paragraph above, the programming isn't perfect. Going back to the tech expert, she also informed us that the Alexas have a new feature where you can ask them why they did something. Simply ask, Alexa, why did you do that? She will respond with something along the lines of, I thought I heard... ... Of course, this does still suggest that she's always listening. As for the guy who heard the device say something about seeing dead people, I think that may have been an Easter egg of some kind that was accidentally triggered, but I can't be sure. Thank you for taking the time to read this super long email. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Have a great day. Thank you so much for sending that in.
You have a great day.
Super interesting to hear. I do think, like, I had tech experts when I worked at GameStop that would come in and talk to us about various different things that we had, and they're not always the best informed. They definitely are informed with the company lines that are to be repeated to customers, so I 100% understand if you're like, it's possible that they had been lied to also. Because if they're listening for their word, then they are always listening. You know, They might just not be recording what's being said.
Well, wasn't there a case where it was like domestic abuse or someone came and murdered them or something, and Alexa recorded absolutely everything?
And Amazon turned it over to the police, and they also just recently signed a deal where the police and the FBI, the federal government, can subpoena anything that was being recorded regardless of whether or not you've activated the recording.
There was also a case that called 911 for a domestic abuse
situation.
Wow,
I didn't even hear about that.
I feel like they're always listening.
No, I absolutely feel like they're always listening, and even if the tech people, like the official company line, is like, no, they just hear their word and they wake up. That doesn't sound right. So, good to know we have someone on the inside looking out for all the spooky friends, and will let us know if anything else goes on, because I want to know about it. Just saying. Pretty creepy, but very interesting. So thank you one more time for sending that in.
When's our Google Home get here?
It actually just shipped today. So we get a Google Home. I got it half off because I have... the Google Music subscription / YouTube Premium or whatever the hell they call it. I can lock my phone and my YouTube still plays. The sound doesn't stop, which is the only reason why I pay for it. And it's awesome, and they tend to give me free gifts and shit like that. So it's good stuff. So before we move on to another email or a break, I do want to mention something really quickly that was pretty awesome that happened today. So a few weeks ago, maybe even as little as 2 weeks ago, I had mentioned that we were just below 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube. And we were hoping that anyone who hadn't gone over there and subscribed to our YouTube could do so. Around that same time, Jessica Braun, a prominent YouTuber, gave us a shout-out on her channel and said that she was enjoying our show, and said to her followers and her listeners that anyone who might be interested in checking out the content should do so. And a lot of you folks have come over, and it's been amazing to see. It's
been absolutely amazing. You guys are absolutely awesome. And we're happy to see more positive people join the community. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Those two events coinciding were pretty special, because I was hoping to get us to 1,000 subscribers, because for complete, full-blown disclosure here, if you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,400 hours of your channel has been watched, you can become a partner on YouTube, which is a difficult number to attain, because 4,400 hours is a lot.
It's a lot of hours.
A lot of hours. And we are around 800 hours short, and that's a rolling 365 days. So the first time we hit the year mark, we were at 2,600. So we were still about halfway there, living on a prayer.
I knew you were going to say that.
I knew you were going to say it. I took it from you before you could. And then, we started making a little bit more content. We started picking up more followers. And then when I brought that up, when we were at 993, we had around 3,600 watched hours. So I was like, okay, in a few months, maybe, if we put out some more content and people start watching some stuff on YouTube specifically, we might be able to get there. I checked it today, and we're over 4,400 hours. So we just today officially qualified to apply for partner.
Woo-hoo.
As long as they check our channel and everything seems on the up and up.
Don't show your boobies.
Yeah, I'm not going to show my boobies no more. Then we're going to be YouTube partners, and we can actually make money off the ads that get run on YouTube. I mean, they're running no matter what, but we're actually going to get a little piece of that. And
we've been doing this for 3 years, and it's actually nice to see that we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, it was a really special
now.
moment. Robin was taking a midterm, and she was super stressed, and I saw it, and I was trying to be quiet and not freak out, and I was I have such good news when you're done. And she's I have 15 minutes left, shut up. I was all right, just finish that up, and then I'll show you this thing. But it's directly because of the support that we have from the Spooky Friends, because so many of you did go over and follow us on YouTube. And the shout out from Jessica Braun and the community that's come over from her absolutely helped us get to that number in such a rapid time. It's shocking and wonderful, and thank you so much.
Yeah.
From the bottom of my heart, I did not think we would get there as quickly as we did, and the fact that it happened is pretty incredible. So, thank you sincerely. It's awesome.
All right, so I'm going to go into the next email here, and it's titled Weird Things in My Houses. So I assume, even though they've moved, weird things still happen.
Sounds like first world problems. You got houses? You got more than one house?
Well, if you move...
Just kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding.
All right, so it goes, hey guys. Hello, we're the guys. I have moved about 2 times in my life. You are very lucky.
Oh, God.
I wish I had only moved 2 times in my life.
How many times have you moved, Robin?
Oh, God, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Are you in witness relocation? Is that why anytime someone's hot on your trail?
I moved a lot when I was a kid, and then I moved a lot when I was in high school. And when I graduated high school, I moved even more. And since I've been here in Vegas, I've moved multiple times.
I've moved 9 times in my life, so I guess that's not too high of a number.
So
but yeah, only 2 in your life, pretty good.
Pretty good, right. Yeah. But 2 out of 2 are weird things, happenstances. So,
well, let's see. Let's see what happens in this email now. I'm intrigued.
So, moved about 2 times in my life, and both of those houses I have had stuff happen. So the first house was a little 2-bed, 2-bath house, great yard, front and back, lucky. Great neighbors, but one criminal neighbor, very nice though. Now back to the story. That house was built on an Indian burial ground, and so begins the movie
Poltergeist. Everyone says it's built on an Indian burial ground, I swear.
How ironic that someone that has a lot of Indian lives on it. So, Native American blood, maybe?
Yeah, I'm guessing they have Native American heritage.
I would always have these dreams of nice men and women feeding me and giving me toys. Yet that wasn't all a dream. The toys from my dreams would appear the next day. Then one day I had a nightmare of a horned little girl brutally murdering the nice people. I woke up screaming. The next day, all the toys and some of my own toys just disappeared. How is that possible?
I don't know. Continue.
Me and my parents looked all over for months, then poof. They appeared one day. Every single toy. I would always see that little girl and thought she was my friend. I found out the hard way. I was 7, having a slumber party. My older friend brought a Ouija board. That's a
mistake.
Yep.
That's a big old nope right there.
I never knew why. He told us how to play, and we did. I started seeing her after we started. She sat and would move the wood thing. She had been feeding on my happiness.
The planchette.
The planchette.
Gotcha.
I don't feel safe sharing what happened. My grandmother had sprayed around some holy water and surrounded the house in salt. That's all from that house, but this house is kind of worse. So, some backstory. It's a big 4-bed, 3-bath house, huge back and front yard, lucky. I have my own bathroom and a big bedroom. Also, lucky, ours is like a 10 by 10.
Right.
Our
bedroom is a bed room. It's a room with a bed. That's what our bedroom is.
The person who lived here before us, their grandmother had died in the house. I'd always had weird vibes like I was being watched constantly. I would be on my bed and I would feel eyes staring at me from behind my headboard. At my desk, I would feel it from my bed. In the bathroom, I would feel that from the door, window, or curtains. Nothing happened besides stuff moving and disappearing for years. This next year, I'd gotten into a little bit of witchcraft.
Seems like you're dabbling in these things that might attract these things.
I'd been writing sigils and making protection spells. I'd started a contact spell, and I'd gotten this older woman, and she had told me that everything would be okay. During that time...
Contact spells and Ouija boards? Why are you piercing the veil?
During that time, my grandmother's cancer had gotten pretty bad. I felt happier. Not that because the cancer was getting really bad. It's just that this person told them that it would be okay.
Right.
Just thought I'd throw that in there. Now I'm hearing things scratch at my walls, lock my doors, personal stuff I'm using just disappears. I've had feelings that felt off, and then the thing comes true. So it's like, I have a feeling this is going to happen, and then it happens.
Okay.
Well, that's all for this email. I want to thank you guys for being so kind. Love y'all so much. With love, Emily. Thank you so much, Emily, for sending your story. It does sound like you're doing some things to attract these things, like Adam was saying, piercing the veil, putting your toes in the water there.
Yeah. If these things are frightening to you, you should probably leave well enough alone when it comes to stuff like that. And I will say, I think there are a lot of people out there that things go missing and you have no idea how it happened. In most cases, it's because people are forgetful, but it's definitely kind of scary when it's like, that thing was just there. Where did it go? So when a bunch of items go missing, it's something that's pretty creepy. I had an experience like that when I was a kid too, where
Was it where your box of toys got dumped out on the floor?
That is absolutely 100% a true story. Like, we didn't imagine that. Me and my brother were fucking terrified when that happened. So I think stuff happens like that to kids because no one will believe them if they say anything, you know?
Yeah.
And then when you get older and things start going missing again, you're like, okay, this is weird, but maybe it's just because I'm being clumsy and you have more reason to doubt. So maybe stop messing around with, it's one thing to do protection spells. I was like, that makes sense, but then it's another thing to do contact spells.
When you're starting to dabble into it, though, I feel like you need to have somebody who knows what they're doing, because if you're doing it yourself...
you need a spirit guide to, like, kind of teach you the ways and the things that are, like, I don't know. I wouldn't say acceptable, but not dangerous, maybe? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need a white witch. Like, whoever the white witch is in Wizard of Oz. I was going to try and say the name. I think it's Glinda. I
was going to say that chick from Clearance or Clearwater Revival or whatever that...
Creedence Clearwater Revival?
What's her name? The singer.
I don't know. That's not CCR, though. Stevie Nicks?
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks is not in CCR.
Okay, my bad. But yeah.
CCR, however, is amazing. For kids that don't know what Creedence Clearwater Revival is out there, just listen to every song they've ever written. It's fucking incredible.
No, yeah, Stevie Nicks is the White Witch, right?
She is the White Witch. Yeah. That's her. So, just saying, don't poke around in everything. It's like, okay, if you've ever seen The Mummy, the documentary called The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, you don't just go into the Book of the Dead and start reading shit. Bad things happen. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you so much for sending that in, though. So before we move into our next story, we are going to take a really quick commercial break. And we're back. All right, I'm going to go ahead and transition into the third story of the evening. The subject is Storytime may read on the pod. That's the perfect way to do a subject, because now we know we can read it. The email, I was going to say the subject. The email starts out, "Hey, Robin and Adam." Shout out to Spooky Mom.
Hello.
Hello. Also, shout out to Spooky Mom. Thank you so much for proofreading these. This is Laura N588 on Twitch and Discord, who is currently watching. After 2-ish years of listening to you guys, I finally decided to send in my stories. Yay, procrastinators. So I have 3 semi-mini stories, right? Same. One is kind of random, and the other 2 are about my grandfather, one of the greatest men I've ever known. They're not exactly scary stories, but I hope they're interesting anyway. Story number 1. I've suffered from anxiety for a few years now, and every once in a while I get weird feelings, usually triggered by something going on at the time. Well, one day at work a few years back, I was having a pretty normal day when all of a sudden I got this really weird feeling, like something bad was going to happen. I couldn't explain it because nothing seemed out of the ordinary and nothing was bothering me at the time, yet the feeling persisted for a while. A few hours later, we found out that the company had decided to let a bunch of people go for financial reasons. Totally intuition right there. Premonition. After that, my bad feeling went away, in parentheses, other than obviously feeling shocked and horrible for the people who got fired. I just thought it was so weird, like somehow I knew that was going to happen. My brain is so weird sometimes. Side note before I move into story number 2, I totally have had that happen to me before in my life too, where it's like, for all intents and purposes, I should be happy right now. Everything should be good. I just feel like something's wrong. So I totally understand where you're coming from on that. All right, story number 2. My grandfather has always been one of my favorite people. He has always been my buddy. About 5 years ago, he passed away from emphysema. He had suffered for several months toward the end, and in the last few weeks of his life, he couldn't really talk much. For that reason, my mom got him a small bell that he could ring if he needed anything. Apparently, he didn't like to ring a bell for whatever reason. However, one night, he decided to ring it, and my grandmother came in to see what he wanted. He didn't seem to need anything, so she went back to bed. Shortly after that, he rang it again, and my grandmother came in. Again, he didn't actually want anything. This continued a few more times to my grandmother's annoyance, and my mom determined that he just wanted to see my grandmother.
Aww.
He passed away that night. I think he knew it was coming, and he just wanted to see his wife before he passed. Apparently, my mom heard the bell ring one time in the weeks after he passed.
Wow.
Perhaps he was just dropping by to let us know he's still with us. That is so sad.
That is
but it's also very
super
sweet.
Sad.
I'm totally going to do that to you. It's like, bing, I just want to see you.
They have, what are those things called? They're not called death bells. It's, what's her name from The Conjuring?
Lorraine?
Yeah, Lorraine Warren.
She's gone now.
Yes, but she collected these bells. And I think they were for specific purposes, like a spirit bell or something like that. I think that's what it's called. But she collected those, and I mean, maybe I'll get one for you.
Okay. It's kind of morbid, but okay. I was talking about when I was super old. Robin just wants it to be over with now. All right, story number 3. When I was younger, I wanted my grandfather to walk me down the aisle when I got married. He was always more of a father figure than my actual dad, so it seemed fitting. However, that is impossible now that he's passed away.
Aww.
Fast forward a bit, probably about a year ago, my mom wanted to see a medium/tarot card reader. I know, take it with a grain of salt. I think they're interesting regardless of if they're real or not. Anyway, without giving her any information about herself or her family, the medium started talking about me and her father/my grandfather. She hadn't even mentioned that she had a daughter. Out of nowhere, she says that whether I decide to have my dad escort me or I walk down alone, my grandfather will be there to walk me down the aisle when I eventually get married.
That's cute.
I just love the idea of my grandpa being there in spirit, even though he cannot be there in person. That one's super awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have. You guys are so awesome. Thanks for entertaining us every week. It means a lot to all of us in the Spooky Fam. I swear one day I'll meet you guys, and we're gonna get drunk. LOL. Keep on creeping on. Laura.
Thank you for joining us every week and being a part of our Spooky Fam.
Absolutely. And occasionally we get drunk on air, so it's almost like we're getting drunk together if you're getting drunk at home.
It's really nice, I think, to always, whenever we get stories where there's that sense of closure or like getting visited by a family member or something like that.
Right.
It's always super nice to hear because a lot of people need that, you know? But yeah, thank you for sending your stories in.
Absolutely, Laura. Thank you so much.
All right, I'm going to hop into the last email of the episode, and it begins. Hello, Adam and Robin and Scary Mom.
Hello.
Hello.
My mom downstairs goes, hello.
She's not Robin Williams.
And Mrs. Doubtfire.
This is Lindsay again. You probably don't remember me, but I sent you an email with information on my twin.
I think we do remember Lindsay, in fact.
And how I had a bad feeling right before the tsunami hit Japan back in 2011. I totally remember that episode.
100% remember it, yeah.
Anyways, I am writing to you because I told you that I would tell you some of these scary-ish things that happened to my twin, Lisa, while she worked at assisted living, which will be abbreviated to AL throughout this email.
Gotcha.
Then I'm going to tell you a true crime that happened to my grandmother back in 2018. That is so recent. Disclaimer, Lisa and I have dyslexia, so errors are bound to happen. And I am no English major, so sorry. It's fine. We'll figure it out.
I find people that take more care wind up doing a better job than people who don't have something like dyslexia.
You should read some of our scripts.
Yeah, holy shit. I can barely type, and I am an English major. So.
I was reading... Okay, sometimes I do skim through Adam's script while he's talking.
She tries to say she doesn't, but then she spoils things
there were
for herself.
so many grammatical errors. I was like,
I don't go back and fix them in the script at this point.
All right, so... The first story I'm going to tell is Lisa's story, so I'm just going to let her write it out. Cute! All right, so Lisa's point of view. First off, I am in the belief that places like this have some sort of energy about them. In the year and a half that I worked there at the assisted living place, about 20 people have passed away, and because of that, I totally believed that it was haunted. This AL was shaped like a square with a courtyard in the middle. The layouts of the front part of the building is somewhat like this. Laundry room, guest bathrooms, living area, reception area, dining, employee bathroom, door to the side of the building. The other hallways are residence rooms. One night I was collecting trash and I forgot some trash at the receptionist desk. I left the big trash can, it's on wheels to make it easier to collect trash, by the employees' restrooms and the back door. Anyway, when I got back from the desk, the trash can was not where I left it. Instead, it was halfway down the resident hallway. Knowing it has wheels, though, it could have rolled.
It's true, but typically it has, like, 2 wheels and then, like, tilts forward. If I'm picturing the right, like the garbage cans most of us use.
But I've seen videos of those trash cans rolling away.
Are they on, like, uneven ground?
Or it's windy and it just blows
That would make sense, too.
Well, I guess technically in a building it's not going to blow away, right?
It's very windy in buildings sometimes.
Is it?
No.
Okay. All right. I work night shifts, so it's from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I do not know how you do it. I would be so scared. Every time I'd get on shift, I would get updates on what had happened. One time, my coworker had an interesting report for me. She was on her way to answer a call light when she passed by our, at the time, oldest living residence. Let's call her Sunshine. So this oldest living residence room. My coworker saw the back of what looked like an elderly man in the room. She thought it was a little bit strange because A, the resident was a female, and B, it was going to be 9 p.m. So I'm assuming people shouldn't be in each other's rooms hanging out or whatever.
Right. No visitors right now. Everyone go to sleep.
After she finished with the call light, she went back to Sunshine's room. She asked Sunshine who was the man that was in her room earlier. Sunshine said that it was her husband. I would like to note here that Sunshine's husband died 20 years earlier. My coworker was a little bit freaked. When I heard this, I was creeped out. But again, it was one of those things that happened in ALs.
Just happens.
The fact that people are just like, it happens. That's just what happens in these places. It's so scary. I would freak out. I couldn't do it.
See, it's one thing for a patient to tell you, oh, I saw my husband. And you're like, okay. It's another thing for you to see someone in the room and then be told, like, oh, that's my husband that passed away 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
I didn't really think about it until about an hour later when Sunshine pulled her call light. I went into her room to find Sunshine on her bed asleep with her back towards me. I called out to her softly, saying, "Hello, Sunshine." What I got was a deep, old, raspy male voice coming behind me, saying, "What do you want?"
That's terrifying.
Fuck that. I jumped around and there was no one there. I wanted to, quote-unquote, note the fuck out, but I unfortunately had a job to do. I went up to Sunshine to clear her call light. I looked down and found out that she had awakened. "Oh, hello," she said in a soft voice. "You pulled your call light," I said. "Was there something I can help you with?" "That wasn't me. That was my husband," she said. She then turned away from me and went back to sleep.
Wow.
What the French toast?
Let's just say, for argument's sake, the husband is a ghost. Ghosts exist and he's there. Why is he pulling the call light and then being rude to you? Yes! You show up. You came.
Yeah. What a dickhead. So, continues. I had full body chills and got out of that room as fast and quietly as I could. And that's the end of Lisa's Homegrown Horror.
It was really good.
Oh my gosh, how do you do that?
The ghost sounds like a jerk. I'm just saying.
Yeah. That's super creepy though. Anywhere you have to work overnight, it's like that's when the weird stuff happens. It's just scary.
Working in a place overnight where people are being taken care of as they gradually pass on is even scarier because you know so many people around there are going to go or have gone, and it's just it's an eerie energy.
Do you ever think when you're closer to the end, you are like in an in-between, you know,
yeah,
where
I think that would totally make sense.
Where you're like a conduit between the other
you're
side.
Like a conduit as so much as you're like starting to plug into the next side as you transfer over.
But maybe that's why her husband was there in the room, because she's older. She's the oldest one that lives there.
Right.
So maybe she's like foot in. Her husband's like using her as a way to like...
I think he's just there to like escort her across, and because of that, he's kind of like half dipping his toe into the waking...
His toe?
His toe into the living world. Fuck you.
You know what he said today? Salmon.
I said it as a joke. I'm in a fucking meeting presenting to game directors. I say salmon as a joke, pronouncing the L. I laugh about it, and the background's like, "Did you just say salmon? Are you stupid?" And like all the people start laughing at me at my meeting. So I like brought it up to my boss afterwards. I brought it up to my boss afterwards. I was like, "I'm sorry about that." And he's like, "No, it's okay. I know she's ruthless." And I was like, "It's just, I don't want to be embarrassing. You know, I understand everyone's cool." And he's like, "You mean embarrassing like when you pronounce the L in salmon?" I was like, "Fuck you." Anyways, let's get back to the email.
All right. So, this next one is the grandmother's true crime story from 2018.
Okay.
So, on to the second story. It's a true crime story about my grandmother. This story is not scary-ish. This story is straight up scary. Warning, while I won't be giving any names, I will be going into details that are graphic, so I just want to put a warning, okay, everybody, trigger warning, into place on this story. So, for a while, I was thinking if I should be writing this, then I heard a lot of your serial killer episodes, so I thought, why not? Yeah, in the serial killer episodes, there's a lot of gory details when it comes to those things. Note, this does not involve a serial killer, but there are graphic details, and this... Oh no, this is not for dog lovers out there.
Oh no.
I can't. Oh, why'd you make me read this one?
I didn't know. I don't read them.
Okay. All right. So this started when my grandmother, we call her Jima, was taking a road trip with an old friend across the country. She started in Portland, Oregon, and she would end up in Nowhere, Texas, or around there to be with her sister. I just wanted to tell you guys that it doesn't matter where she's at. She will always take a walk around the block, and if there are dogs, well, she just has to pet them. Big or small, hairy or hairless, she just has to pet them. I freaking love dogs. And I'm
trying to strap on for this one. It's going to be rough.
So she's in Texas in August of 2018 visiting her sister, and she's taking her daily walk when all of a sudden 5 big dogs come up to her and attack her.
Oh, wow.
And I mean attack. The owner, we'll call him Douchebag, raises them to be boar hunting dogs, so they will be vicious on their prey. The prey at the time is my over 120-pound soaking wet of a Gma. So she's tiny. 120 pounds? That's freaking 100 pounds less than me. Oh my god. They're tearing at her, attacking her face, arms, legs, chest, back, everywhere that they can get. The dogs are ripping into her. Oh my gosh, that's terrifying. Around that time, Douchebag didn't show up for work, and so his boss, we'll call him Hero, decides to drive to Douchebag's house to see why he didn't show up for work. On the way there, he saw the 5 dogs surrounding something, and by that time, the dogs had pulled Gma into the ditch on the side of the road.
Oh my god.
What those dogs are getting put down.
Yeah, they are.
Oh my lord. Hero had a bad feeling. I think the names of the people are cute. Hero had a bad feeling, so he pulled up toward the dogs and chased them away, either by scaring them or in some cases beating them away. When he saw that the thing was my grandma, he quickly called 911. He told them that there was a severely injured elderly woman that was attacked by 6 dogs that needed an ambulance right away. The operator asked for an address, but they were in a ditch. There was no address. The operator then said that they cannot dispatch an ambulance until they have an address. Mother, what? That's bullshizzle. Then give them the cross streets.
Give them the closest cross streets and be like, that's where you're going. You'll see someone pulled to the side of the road screaming at the ambulance as it passes by.
What the French toast? Oh my god. Mad. I'm mad. All right. So, frustrated, Hero ran towards the nearest house, which happened to be Douchebag's, broke in, and read the address off of the mail. He then ran back to see if he could try to help my grandma. Finally, the ambulance came. He rushed to the paramedics, telling them what happened. The paramedics saw Gma's injury and thought it was a lost cause. What? They would not touch her. They were going to let her die.
Oh, this doesn't sound like any paramedics I've ever heard of.
Oh my! And if this must be a really shitty part of town,
right?
If they're like, no, we're just gonna let her. No, that is, you take an oath to help people. Oh my god. Okay. So Hero's not going to let that happen. He yelled at them to save her, telling them to do their damn jobs. I think that he scared them into doing just that. They got her into the ambulance and took her to the nearest hospital. There, the doctors spent months trying to save her life and her arms and legs. We then found out that she had signed a DNR 8 years ago that they forgot was there, but luckily, when she was lucid enough and my aunt, who was the power of attorney over Gma, they were able to fix that mistake. My family thought that this was it, that we would be losing her to this vicious attack, but luckily, with the amazing Hero and wonderful team at the hospital taking care of her, doing hours and hours of surgeries / skin grafts and aftercare, they not only saved my Gma, but also saved both arms, legs, and face.
That's great to hear.
That is crazy that those dogs caused so much damage.
I mean, dogs are just big animals. We mention it all the time when we're around our dogs. It's like, there's this creature that has fangs, and canines. It's what they're called canines for a reason, the teeth are. Because it's like, they're specific for one purpose, which is to tear apart meat, And dogs, for the most part, on the whole, choose to just be loving, wonderful animals. But if they're raised by the wrong person, they can be vicious and dangerous,
We tried to sue Douchebag, but he doesn't have insurance. Texas doesn't have a leash law.
Wow.
Of what? And a law that we can't sue him out of the house.
That makes no sense.
What?
What kind of laws are in place in Texas where an animal can attack someone that's owned by someone else and they're not legally responsible?
That means that we can't take his house for money. Not that we wanted to make him homeless, but after the medical treatment and care, it put her millions in debt. So millions of dollars worth of debt. That's insane. I mean that. We had to sell everything in her name to pay for some of it and still not make a dent into the payment. The sheriff department would not charge him with a crime of negligence because he was hunting buddies with Douchebag. Fuck this guy, man. What? Gma's sister and brother-in-law were on Douchebag's side because they were friends, which blew my mind because your sister is in the hospital fighting for her life and you're laughing with Douchebag because you know that they can't be touched or have to be responsible for what his dogs did. bro, those dogs better be put down. So in the end, we had to put the 5 dogs down. Good. I mean, it's sad, but those dogs are dangerous.
It is what it is, yeah.
There's no way to go around that. The sheriff's still not doing anything, and Douchebag is practically off scot-free. We are fighting in civil court, but nothing's going anywhere as of right now. Hero visited my Gma every day until we transferred her to a care facility up in Portland. Gma spent over 6 months in the hospital near Nowhere, Texas. Her insurance was changed to where they will pay for everything if she does not have anything in her name. That is awesome. Glad that she has insurance like that now.
But she has to have nothing in her name first, which means she has to literally sell off all of her assets.
Yeah, so car, house, storage, or even a GoFundMe account, she can't have any of that. But she's getting healthy and still goes on her daily walks, and she still loves dogs. So that is what I'm grateful for. End of the true crime story. So that is the 2 stories I wanted to share with you guys today.
Wow.
Sorry for how long it is. You can split it up if you want or not. We told it all in one. I just wanted to tell you thanks for all the podcasts that you do. I love, love, love it. Happy belated birthday. No, you're right on time. It's in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Nice. It's the beginning of September when I wrote this, so I'm estimating when you read this. And happy holidays. Stay on creeping on the twins.
Wow.
Ooh, it's cool to know more twins.
All right, that was really, really good. I will say, of all the things that were in that story that was shocking to me, the fact that the paramedics did not want to help was just baffling. I have so many people that I know that are paramedics or paramedics in my family. Those people should not be paramedics. They should have been fired immediately after that.
Oh, yeah.
And possibly held legally responsible for any damages that were done from the time wasted not helping someone.
I think it's just such a small town where everybody knows each other, so it
sounds like that. Yeah.
We can't do that. She's an out of towner. You know what I mean? Whatever.
It's just horrific.
Yeah,
I'm happy to hear
horrific.
that they're okay, and despite the fact that they're in an avalanche of debt right now, they're alive and healthy because, in the end, fuck them. Don't pay. I have family that have been buried in 6 to 7 figures of debt before, and you just call them and say, here's what I can give you. Take it or leave it. I have nothing left for you to take. Nothing. It's you can try and take back whatever you did to save my life, and you probably would if you could. And eventually they will settle for the fact that you can't pay them, and they'll make something off of it, or they'll make nothing off of it.
We used to make, no money
at
all. And there was a point where I had a miscarriage, TMI, but they charged me $10,000 for it.
Yep.
They charged me $10,000 for something that they did nothing for. And we couldn't afford $10,000 on $600 every 2 weeks. So it's hospitals just want to gouge you for every little freaking thing. It's insane.
It's just we can't pay this. It's we'll put you on a payment plan. It's even then we can't pay this. We can make a payment of $1, $1 a month for the next 100,000 months. I don't know what the fuck you want from us. We don't have the money for this. And eventually we just wound up settling for significantly less than they were trying to charge us for. But yeah, it's just it's a common thing where it's this is the worst moment of your life.
Yeah.
Here's how much it's also going to cost you. And
so
at least they took care of your grandmother in this case and got her back on her feet. So I am happy to hear that the things that matter are resolving. And it sucks that a horrible person's going to get away with it. It's sad that dogs got put down, but realistically, the dogs sound like they're dangerous because they've been raised by a shitty, dangerous person.
To be dangerous, though. Yeah. Boar hunting, they have to be vicious.
If they can't distinguish between a boar and a human being, they have been raised incorrectly, and they've just been raised to attack things. So, horrific story. Thank you for sharing it. I understand it's a difficult story to hear, and I understand it's a difficult story to tell, so we do appreciate it, though. So thank you one more time, Lindsay, for sending that in to us. Thank you so much one more time to everyone who sent in their emails. We sincerely appreciate it. If you're a listener, if you're a viewer, whatever the case may be, when you share something that's deeply personal with you and you let us share it, it shows a sign of trust in us, and we appreciate that. We wanted to make this a safe place when we started doing the show, and I think we've accomplished that. We want to keep it that way. So if you have a story you want to share, please do so. You can email storytime@scarish.com or go to our website, scarish.com, and click on Contact Us. You can also go to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/scarishpodcast, or hit us up on Twitter, which is @scarishpod, or Instagram, which is @scarishpodcast. Yeah, good stuff. Robin, for folks who would like to donate to us monetarily, how can they do so?
You can go to patreon.com/scarishpodcast. Their monthly donations tiers start at $1, and at $1 you get every episode. So if you don't want to hear any of them ads, it's just $1 a month. $1 a month. How do you divide that into 30 days?
4 quarters.
Costs
more to buy a Snickers out of a vending machine. Imagine one Snickers.
It costs more for one Starbucks.
like way more.
Yeah, way more.
It's like it's 20% of a Starbucks. That's all I'm saying. That's what all the drinks there are called, right? Can I get a Starbucks? That's what you say when you go to Starbucks. I
remember when I first met you, you're like, I don't know how to order from Starbucks.
I've never been to Starbucks. I didn't drink coffee.
Anyway, tangent. But you can also go to Coffee. Speaking of, ko-fi.com/scaryish podcast, and those are one-time donations. All your donations, no matter what service you go through, whether it be Patreon, Coffee, Streamlabs, while we're streaming or PayPal or whatever, all your donations go to upgrading our studio setup and kind of keeping us going and motivated and giving us more time to create more content and be able to sit down and say, like, we're going to do this XYZ type thing. So thank you so much for letting these dreams happen, creating dreams, memories, all these things.
Indeed. I will say we're always pretty motivated to do the show regardless of if we're getting donations. Just when we see donations come in, we're like, they like us. They really like us.
They really like us.
And it does make it easier to do extra stuff. And a lot of the designs that Robin does is based off the fact that we can order merch because she's made a design. And that's possible because we have things like a PayPal for Scarish that we can take out of and say, we can order that thing, which is amazing to have happen. So one more time, as Robin said, thank you so much. I do think, however, that is the end of the episode. It's everything we got for Storytime 139. Robin, go ahead and sign us out.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.